In 1974, Bill Raveis borrowed $2,000 from a bank and launched William Raveis Real Estate in an office above a grocery store. Within 10 years, he established a mortgage company, an insurance company, an award-winning relocation business. Today, William Raveis is the #1 independent family-owned real estate company in the Northeast and Florida, according to Real Trends. I got to sit down with Bill and his son, Ryan Raveis, and talk about the future of the company, which is going to celebrate its 50th year anniversary in 2024, what that looks like, how they built it, and the succession plan from Bill to his son, Chris and Ryan. And of course, we mentioned the show, HBO Succession. Enjoy the podcast. $5 years ago, we're here in Naples right now, T360, Stefan Swanepoel. If you've never heard of one of his conferences, it's about 400 high-level CEOs and execs. And about 5 years ago, there was one in Miami at the Fontainebleau that I attended. And I met a guy named Alan Dalton.
Oh, yeah.
And he was the former CEO of Realtor.com for many years. I think he's working maybe at BHHS now for Gino, or maybe he's out of I'm not sure exactly what he's doing now. But 5 years ago, he found out that I was working for William Raveis. And he says, wow, do you know Bill personally? I said, yeah, I know Bill. He says, can you send him a little note? And he writes on a napkin or something. He wanted me to bring it to the Naples office to tell you hello. But he said to me, Bill Raveis, and I've met all the brokers across the country, is by far the smartest broker I've ever seen. And, he's been around 40 plus years. And he named them all off. And I thought somebody that's been involved in the industry for that long, to give a compliment like that. But from what I've seen, and I've met a lot of these execs, he's exactly right. William Raveis is going to celebrate 50th year anniversary, and there's not many companies that can say that they've seen the ups and the downs. And let's start, Bill, with what do you think got William Raveis to this position with all of the ups and downs, this being another one of those maybe down periods that every brokerage has to fight through? What's been unique to you and your brand to
get through
it going?
Well, just like anything else, the great athletes become greater by working harder. So the hardest working person usually in the room is the guy who's going to make it. Now, you got to have a passion for your business. You got to love your business, but you got to put the work in. So when the downturns come, you don't run away from the downturns. You lean into it. You really go for it. And that's when you make the advances, is during the downturns. Everybody on the upturns are doing a great job, and everybody's rising with the upturn. It's the downturns is where you really want to advance. We had like 8 of them in my 50 years, and we grew through 8 recessions, and we're going to grow through this one too. We got some, as Ryan knows, we got some really pretty powerful things in the works there. And, the vision was to have a family business, and to pass the baton to the next generation. And I'm fortunate my 2 sons, Ryan and Chris, are as good as it gets in the industry. We have a great management team. So we're here for maybe another 50 years. Okay. So yeah, so the key is hiring the right people, having a passion and a vision for your business, and being the hardest worker in the industry.
Really, nobody outside of William Raveis and Howard Hanna has pulled off a Succession. We were joking about the HBO shows. Does Dad watch the HBO show?
I'm not sure.
That's what, Succession?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it. I mean, well, anyway, so they've had their little, the children have now had their little situation that's interesting. Well, I'm fortunate I have 2 sons that really like each other and work together.
Yeah. And then you've actually pulled off the Succession, which most companies don't pull off. Most brokerages, there's really only the 2 independents that I just mentioned that are in that top echelon of brokerages competing for market share. Why do you think it was so successful here with you and your brother Chris to be able to take over the company where so many other brokerages have not been able to pull that off?
Become a better agent today. Everybody's telling you what to do. We actually show you how to do it in our BAMX community, where we upload new courses from our internal BAM team every single month, along with live streams and a private Facebook community where things are being posted nowhere else that you can find on the internet. We also have BAM creator courses, and you get a massive discount off of those each and every single month. Hit the link below and join BAMX today. Become a better agent.
So Dad has joked in the past, and he says there's something in the stew that we have. I think you talk about the culture of the company.
I thought it was the Hungarian.
Well, it could be that too.
Could be too.
But your first question was about the down market and how you make a way through a down market. And I think our company has managed to build the resilience that is just based on something inside the culture of the company. People trust each other. People love that it's a family business. People love that Bill is present, that Chris and Ryan are present and in the offices. And I've been around enough of these conventions as well to see the different leadership and how different companies are run. And it makes me think of a memory I had when I was 18 or 19 years old. Dad took me around. I was interning with a company, and we had just acquired another company whose culture wasn't like ours. And we had just made an announcement to the agents, their agents, that they were taking us over. And there was a bit of, the agents were angst, they were confused. But I watched my dad then, we must have been, 50 or so?
Mm-hmm.
I was, maybe 20, 18, 19.
Yeah.
And he spent all day with each individual agent, making sure that they knew who he was. Because the company they were coming from was a much bigger company. They didn't have management in the field. And I remember the vision clear as day. You had a white shirt on, your sleeves were rolled up. It was a hot summer day. And each agent got to know Bill personally that day. And that moment for me kind of stuck out about what our company was all about. It was making sure that we're in the field, we're caring for our agents. There is a trust. So when you do come across a market like this, there's more to this company than just selling real estate. And
It's culture.
yeah.
One of the things too, what I said to both Chris and Ryan, I said, go out and have a job after college. Go get yourself another job and learn something from another industry. And if you want to come back when you're 30 years old, you want to come back, knock on the door. And so they both went out. I guess you work for
Forrester. So I left. I worked for a management consultant in Boston.
So you got your MBA.
And then the MBA. Yeah.
They got his MBA. You went to Forrester. And I said, well, knock on the door when you're 30 years old if you want to come back. Same thing with Chris. I wanted to see that they wanted to be part of the company as opposed to I placed them in the company.
Absolutely.
So their desire to come back, actually you came back before you were 30. You came back when you were like 28.
Yeah, well, you recruited me.
I said, we need you in the mortgage company.
Give me an interesting project.
Yeah, we need you in the mortgage company.
I don't know the answer. Did you, when you went to school, when you went to college, did you think that you would come back, or did you think, I'm going to go and do something else? Well, 10 years before you were 28 when you did come back, what was going through your
So keep in mind, I grew up, Dad started the company in 74. So I was born in 78. So by the time I'm growing up, I'm seeing William Raveis signs everywhere. The Little League is playing a competitor, and all my Little League friends are saying, we got to beat this guy Schlott because we're Raveis, and all my friends got by. So it was embedded in me, the Raveis culture and the family business, and there's a sense of pride you get driving around town with your dad honking the horns at the listing signs.
a lot of honks.
No, I used to honk the horn. Yeah, I used to honk the song every time we went down a Raveis sign.
But it must have made Fairfield sound like New York City.
Okay.
But by the time I was in college, I did a couple internships with the company.
Mortgage company, right?
I was a loan officer with a mortgage company directly out of college. And then it was a natural progression into the business. But by the time I was 22 or 23, Dad did have a rule: you have to leave the company. But I also think I needed to see something outside of the family business in order to really appreciate what we have. So when I worked for a big public company, for a couple of years. And by the time I came back, I had an opportunity to be more of a manager in our ancillary businesses, and it was an excellent fit and an excellent opportunity. And Dad's kind of given me enough rope to do things without, but also having oversight during those times. It's been great.
We have interesting dynamics here in the company. I mean, Chris runs the sales side of the business, 4,500 agents. Ryan's responsible for headquarters and the insurance and mortgage business and operations, basically. And my philosophy is not to overmanage them at all. They're smart. And they'll figure out what they need to do. Every once in a while, I get to knock on the door. What do you think about this? Okay. And, I look at basically the big picture, cash flow, are we growing, that kind of stuff. And they're actually in the field doing their stuff. So I don't want to mess with them. They're smart and they're good at what they do. So I don't want to be nitpicking. Why did you do that? Why didn't you do that? How come you not do it? I don't do that. They look at the results. We all know we can look at each other and say, that's good. Okay. Or that's not so good. And so it's this dynamic that's there that knows that we got to push a little harder over here or push, like for instance, the mortgage business right now is not in a good shape. I mean, most mortgage companies are off 80, 90%.
Yeah.
And so Ryan on his own has been doing what he needs to do to make this thing profitable. And he just shows up every once in a while. Here's what I did here. Here's what I did here. And I just let him have his rope and let him do what he has to do. And he's very good at it. So why mess with it? So the management style here is to give them respect and room to do what they have to do. They basically do the same thing with me. They don't tell me what to do either. They know I'm going to do what I want to do, right? About right?
It's a fruitless effort.
Okay.
And maybe the biggest project on your plate the last handful of years has been the growth in South Florida, right? I mean, you've kind of led the charge there, and it's been unprecedented to see how quickly. And actually, I don't know, Bill, if you know this, Ryan had another yard sign experience at the airport. He flew in a couple of days ago. You said yesterday he handed his driver's license to the.
What happened?
He handed his driver's license to TSA or somebody coming in to Naples Airport, and they said, "Do you know William Raveis?"
I get that all the time.
I had to double check where I was. I'm used to that in the Northeast, not Florida though.
But the name has grown so quickly and so powerfully here, certainly in Naples and then on the East Coast now as well. Next year's gonna be 50 years, and you still have a drive as if it was a startup, and that's essentially what it was. 6 years ago, 5 years ago in Florida.
Now we're $4.5 billion.
$4.5 billion. It was truly a startup 6 years in. 44 years, 45 years into the business when you did it. What gave you that drive and that edge to come down here and grow this to $4.5 billion in 6 years and take market share and be the number one luxury brand in a place like Naples, Florida?
Well, so I came down here thinking that I'm sort of going to lay low, retire, not sort of ease into retirement. And this is, I'm in, my late 60s. But like a plumber, I want to go look at plumbing. So I go through the open houses, all right? Okay, so I start going through the open houses. And we live in a section called Port Royal, and some of the houses there are very expensive. So I was looking at a house, and the agent there, she had a mini black skirt on. She had a baseball jersey on, and she had a card on her table. And there was a guy sitting in the family room. He had no shirt on, his bare chested, and he had a beer on the thing. I figured, well, maybe that's the owner. Yeah. And I asked her. She said, no, that's my boyfriend. He comes to the open houses all the time with me.
This is Port Royal?
Yeah.
Look up Port Royal. You'll be shocked about this.
Yeah, $20 million house.
Yeah.
And I go to another one. Some guy's got some shirt on with the chains around his neck, and he's got flip-flops on, and he's doing an open house. I said, you got to be kidding. This is the kind of stuff I would compete with down here. So what it did was just got me very excited, because up in the Northeast, as you know, it's a tough business in the North. They're very professional, but the agents are very good. So I figured, well, maybe there's a seam opening here because we have a sort of a different culture to bring down here, and maybe that will take off. Well, that's what happened. So we brought our culture from the Northeast down to Florida, South Florida, and also to Southwest Florida, and it took hold. We have technology, we have the marketing, we have the coaching and mentoring. They did not have that down here. They've all adjusted now, okay, because they're going to compete with us. But when we came in there, we were basically a new shiny penny that everybody wanted to be with. So plus we have great management, Matt Blade. So when they said to me they wanted to come to Florida, she came to me. Molly worked for me in the Westport office as a team leader, and she said, I'm going to be going to Florida. My kids are going to be going to school, and I'm going to go down to Florida. I want to be your general manager, she says to me. I says, fine, you got it. And so the combination of seeing the agent and then Molly telling me, okay, fine, when I come down, I said, we're going to hit it out of the park, which we did.
Yeah. Oh, that's been unbelievable. And bringing that down here, like you said, it is a different mentality. People don't understand. I was talking to a web developer today in the conference in the hallway, and he's like, one market they do custom websites. One market we've never been able to crack into is Greenwich, Connecticut. So it's just not that kind of market. Yeah. It is a relationship market. You're not going to crack in on an internet lead to a place like Greenwich, Connecticut. And every local market's uniquely different on how you're going to be able to generate leads and do business and get referral partnerships and all these relationships. What today, and either of you can jump in, what today in the high-end luxury market is maybe the quickest path to getting market share? If there's just an agent or a team that wants to kind of generate and pick up.
So let me tell you how we do it. I'm going to give some secrets away.
All right. This is what we like.
Hoping nobody uses it. So what we do, we go into a marketplace and we take a look at the average sale of the marketplace. And we take a look what the luxury places. Give an example. Say the average sale is $500,000 and luxury is $1 million. So we go look for the luxury brokers, agents. And basically we have a whole tool set that we bring to them that they couldn't develop on their own. And we spend millions of dollars, whether it be in our marketing or whether it be in coaching and mentoring or whether it be in our technology. We've already have the operations ready for somebody who wants to sort of get it to another level. So we look for somebody who's in the luxury market first. Secondly, we want to see if they want to get to another spot. We're here to coach, mentor, and train, and then we plug in our services for them. It's been a winner. So the average agent, we don't, for the luxury market, we want average agents working for us too. I'm not saying no to it, but if we want to own the luxury marketplace, we look for the luxury brokers. In Port Royal, we have 60% market share. The average price is $20 million, and we have all the great agents there. And so what happens, a lot of people think, well, if you have 2 or 3 great agents doing the same marketplace, they don't like the competition. Just the opposite. As the tide rises, all the boats rise too. So as you get better people within the marketplace working for you, basically lift everybody's brand. So the key is people.
Yeah, what happens when you have market share is, as one of those top performing agents, you're almost guaranteed a seat at the table when they're interviewed.
Yes. Because
in Port Royal, it would be insane not to interview 1 or 2 William Raveis brokers, right? If you're the seller, that would be not a smart move.
So we own that market. So what we try to do is own markets. And for give an example, just yesterday I was helping one of our general managers in Massachusetts. We just hired a $100 million producer, and I'm talking to her personally. I mean, back and forth, making a deal, this and that kind of stuff. So she's a high-end agent. So I said, okay, I'm jumping into this one, David. If you want, he calls me up. He said, can you help? I said, sure. So you want to make sure that you have we have the right tools, we have the right marketing, we have the right coaching. Now we have to get the right people. And then the other thing we do too, you want to talk a little bit about our one-stop shopping ancillary businesses too.
Yeah. So, where the business is going, it's all about services. Why does one broker join another? It's culture, it's brand, and it's services. So our whole goal as a company is to really take the friction out of the real estate process. So you're buying a home. We try to minimize the time it takes to get into that home. And if there's a million different things that could come up as a problem, and there's about 24 different people involved in the real estate transaction. So we've streamlined this whole thing. So, for example, right now, inventory is very tight, and there may be 24 offers on a given property. You have to be prepared to buy. And if you're an agent working with the buyer, you want to make sure that your buyer wins that bid. So what we do is we come up with different financial services programs. So we're actually giving our buyer clients the cash to put in a cash offer to buy that home. And then we do a mortgage for them later. Our sellers, if they need to get out of the house, we're giving them cash. We're guaranteeing the sale of their home. We're giving them the cash to move on and put an offer in on the next house while we sell their home to the open market. So we have a number of different financial services programs that are supported by, number one, just capital, and then number two, a mortgage company, an insurance company, and an attorney network that really wraps everything together. So we talk about high-end markets like Port Royal. We talk about markets where the average price is 15, where we're selling $20 million properties or $80 million properties. This is all about service. And that's what we really need to hone in on and what we've done as a company. So when we do enter a market like Port Royal, we have it. Now it's just about the personal touch and supporting that person, the agent.
See, what's happened is the business models have changed.
Yeah.
So what you have now, you have the 100% plans that people have, and they got caps on their commissions. And then you have traditional brokerages, and you have somebody like us, which is a luxury brand that has financial services tied around with it. So this is our lane of competing, is a luxury brand that has financial services. Basically, we buy houses, we'll finance houses, we'll give you cash. That doesn't happen with some of the other brands that basically just cap agents are on their own. I'm not saying anything wrong with it. Everybody has a chance to pick what they want to do, but our lane is different than everybody else's lane.
This lane feels like the Goldman Sachs of the industry.
That's correct.
Right. And so, you've led a lot of trends in the industry over the years. Is this going to be ultimately, I think, the trend that really wins out over the next 10 years? There's a lot of things swirling around the real estate industry. And I believe that service is going to be what elevates the really good agents and separates, those winners from the ones that don't win, so to speak. And is it this approach, like we're the Goldman Sachs, we're the advisors, the financial advisors of the market? Yeah,
see, the margins in the residential real estate business are getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And you can just see that. I mean, the public companies, you can see just for yourself that the margins are very thin for these public companies, and they don't have any other way to make money. And it's very, very difficult. Now, what do you do? Okay. So when you have ancillary services and you have other things to offer where your margins are good, I mean, in the insurance business, the margins is very, very good. Mortgage right now is off because of the interest rates, but it'll come back great. They're going to be a reckoning coming into the real estate business at some point. And it may be this year, it may be the beginning of next year, because the margins are very, very thin. So you've got to come up with something for yourself to either increase your margins or offer a product that nobody else is offering. So therefore, you can get more. So your margins are a little bit better by offering the product that nobody else is offering. It is a really interesting time to be in the business. I mean, everybody's got their different lanes, and we're going to be okay. We're going to be fine. The question comes down, what kind of market share do we grab? We're not going to look for the market. We're not grabbing market share in the $200,000 to $300,000. That's just not us. And not to say we don't take it. We're looking for the 10 to 20 million.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like Willie Sutton, why do you rob banks? Well, that's where the money is. Well, why do you want to be at the high end? Well, that's where the money is, Yeah.
And I might get the question every week. Certainly, I get it a couple times a month. Why William Raveis over one of these other brands that is competing against splits or revenue models and all this. And I tell people all the time, do you want to be out on your own, or do you want to have a true partner that's built out some of this infrastructure, some of these services, and can actually be alongside with you, that have seen things? Because I agree with you, in the next couple of years, and certainly if you're listening to this pod and you're just getting into the industry and you're thinking about, what's the right model for me, it's one that has been through, some stuff, and also can see into the future and is going to partner with you to allow you to be that Goldman Sachs expert in whatever marketplace you're in, and at whatever price point, because it is reflective of, a median sales all the way up to luxury when you have these kind of services and infrastructure behind you. It's so important, because I think agents are always, and it's a big mistake that new agents make. It's why there's an 87% failure rate. They're thinking about the next 6 months. How do I make money? How do I make most money? And that they're not thinking necessarily long-term, 10, 20 years with a career in mind. So let's wrap this up, because I know we're going to check out the Chipotle message, Chipotle CEO here in just a couple of minutes. What's one thing the rest of 2023, 2024 is obviously the 50-year anniversary for William Raveis. We're going to do another pod to celebrate that. But what's one thing you want to leave agents and team leaders specifically with for the rest of 2023? My theme right now is, we're sitting here in May. May is when you make the hay. I would attack quarter 2 with a vengeance, because to me, quarter 4 looks maybe similar to last quarter 4. It could be, not as great of an opportunity as quarter 2, quarter 3. What do you want to leave in the minds of agents and team leaders to finish out 23? We'll start with Ryan and then.
Now is the time to lean in. Keep an optimistic energy about you and the people around you, and surround yourself with good people, because there will be people that get frustrated with this market. There'll be others that are watching the media and watching the negative news, and you have to ignore that and keep your lane clear and a positive energy moving forward, and that's where the winners are going to come from.
Yeah, so getting yourself off the mat every day and being the force of good for the community.
There's an opportunity out there in this down market. There's a huge, huge opportunity. You just have to enter each day with the right mindset to go get it.
And it's our philosophy hasn't changed in 50 years. We invented the idea of agents a customer. I was looking, a phone at a desk above a grocery store, looking at how am I going to make money here? I said, well, if I hire an agent, they make money, then I make money. So why don't I make sure that they can make a lot of money, so therefore I can make a lot of money? So the agent customer, building their infrastructure, we actually love our agents really in terms of our business family. And so our job is to help mentor, coach them to be better than they would be if they were off by themselves. We give them the opportunity to be themselves, let them brand themselves, but our job is to help them. And so we come up with lots of things, contests, coaching, mentoring. We have Tom Ferry show up, how you build listings. So we're always plugging them into our channel of growing. So what we want them to do is grow in 2023. Our job is to help them grow in various ways, whether it be listing contests, whether it be coaching, mentoring, whether it be a new products. So growth is really the answer for us in 2023. And our job is to help grow. Give an example. I just hired that $100 million agent in Massachusetts, and I gave her my cell phone. I said, call me. And she said, I may lose a listing. Well, tell the owners who you may lose a listing to, that you got Bill Raveis on speed dial. So she said, okay, I'll do that. Our job is to help our agents build their business.
If you just listen to what Bill left you with, this is a true deal junkie. All right. It's not just right. It's not just about going and starting a new market. It's all the way down to, hey, how do I help this agent get a listing who we've just brought into the organization? And that's the kind of mindset that's going to win this year.
Yeah.
It's, are you a deal junkie on your own business, whether you're a solo agent, team leader, whatever? Are you going out there every single day and looking for a new deal, a new relationship, a new opportunity? Nobody's done it better than Bill Raveis. We can all learn a lot. I'm trying to be as much of a deal junkie.
You are.
If I could do a fraction of what
you're good at it, though. You're good at it.
So I can't wait. I hope you enjoyed the pod. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this. And we're going to do another one next year. We'll have Chris next year. He's down in, or he's up in the Northeast, keeping it operating for Ryan. But we're going to do one with Chris, Ryan, and Bill celebrating 50 years next year. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys soon.